Witkoff is traveling to Rome today for the fifth round of talks with Iranian officials over Tehran's nuclear program. A source said Witkoff will be joined by State Department official Michael Anton, and the discussions is expected to start at 11 a.m. GMT. The talk will be both direct and indirect, comes amid tensions over uranium enrichment. Iran's top diplomat Araghchi said yesterday that deep divisions remain with the U.S. ahead of nuclear talks, warning no agreement is possible if Washington demands Iran halt uranium enrichment. Let's listen in to what Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi has said.
هنوز اختلافات بنیانی بین ما وجود داره. طرف آمریکایی همونطور که خودشون گفتن در مصاحبات و گفته‌هاشون اصولاً به غنیسازی در ایران اعتقادی ندارن و معتقدن که غنیسازی باید به طور کامل متوقف بشه. اگر این هدفشون هست توافقی در کار نخواهد بود. من این رو به صراحت عرض میکنم. اگر بخواهند که حق مردم ایران برای استفاده صلح‌آمیز از انرژی هسته‌ای رو از ما بگیرن، ما به هیچ وجه توافقی نخواهیم داشت. جمهوری اسلامی ایران اگر می‌خواست سراغ سلاح هسته‌ای بره.
Meanwhile, President Donald Trump spoke with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu yesterday with the White House, saying negotiations with Iran are moving in the right direction. Witkoff reiterated that any deal must include a ban on uranium enrichment, a stand Tehran rejects. Iran's Supreme Leader Ayatollah al-Khamenei called U.S. demands excessive and outrageous, expressing doubt over the success of these talks. The discussions followed the recent killing of 2 Israeli embassy staffers in Washington. Listen to what White House Press Secretary Karoline Leavitt has said.
The President spoke to Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu today. They had a productive discussion. They discussed many things, including, of course, the tragic shooting that took place here in Washington, D.C. last night. But they also did talk about a potential deal with Iran, which the President believes is moving along in the right direction. And as the President told me, and he's told all of you, this deal with Iran could end in 2 ways. It could end in a very positive diplomatic solution, or it could end in a very negative situation for Iran. So that's why these talks are taking place later this week.
Now we have guest Professor Rohan Gunaratna joining us as an international security expert from Singapore. Professor, what are the main sticking points between the U.S. and Iran in these talks?
At this point, the Iranians and the Americans are willing to talk, but Iran is unwilling to stop its weaponization and enrichment program. And of course, the President Trump is determined to ensure that Iran does not gain access to a nuclear weapon. So it is very likely that these talks will protract, and it is also very likely that at some point Israel will strike Iran and dismantle its fissile and missile program. It is because Iran continues to support various threat entities in the region, especially Ansarullah of the Houthi movement in Yemen, that periodically conducts missile and drone strikes against Israel. So the situation is very sensitive at the moment, but I believe that the U.S. engagement of Iran is the most important engagement, because unless there are talks, there will be no breakthrough in the current status quo.
You have kind of already touched down, but Professor, why is this fifth round in Rome considered very, very important?
It is because Donald Trump is very determined that Iran gives a commitment and that Iran sticks to that commitment. Trump is a very unpredictable leader, but again, he is very determined to ensure that there is no attack on Iran by Israel at this stage. So I believe that we all must give peace a chance.
And while we all hope that, do you think there can be a deal that will be reached while Trump continues to push a maximum pressure campaign?
Yes, certainly. It is only through dialogue and discussion there can be a final and a permanent solution. But if Iran is going to just protract these talks and not yield to the US thinking on this matter, which is to stop enrichment, to stop weaponization, then certainly Israel and the US or Israel unilaterally will strike Iran.
And according to you, Professor, what do you think is Iran's red line in these negotiations?
Iran wants to continue its nuclear capability. Iran's argument is Israel has nuclear weapons. Why can't we have nuclear weapons? So Iran's principal strategy is to build those capabilities. The American knows that, the Israelis know it even better. And of course, considering Iran's past sponsorship of threat actors, meaning including terrorist groups, governments around the world do not want a country like Iran to have a nuclear weapon.
And last but not least, how much of a role is Israel playing behind the scenes in shaping US policy over here?
Israel is the power in the Middle East. Israel has repeatedly demonstrated its capacity and capability to dominate the security landscape in the Middle East. And of course, Prime Minister Netanyahu of Israel has built a very close relationship with US President Donald Trump. And that relationship is what is going to eventually determine the fate of Iran, whether Iran is going to be attacked or not.
And let me ask another one. What happens if these talks fail or stall? Are we looking at a possible military escalation over here?
Absolutely. There will be strikes not only against Iran's nuclear infrastructure, but also against its economic infrastructure, because Israel is aware that whatever strikes they conduct to disrupt, degrade, and dismantle Iran's fissile and missile capabilities, Iran will rebuild, and Israel will attack Iran in a way where it will not be able to reconstitute their nuclear program in the short term.
Thank you so much, Professor Rohan Gunartra, for joining us. You will stay with us as we move on to our next story.